Welcome, and thank you for joining today's webinar, reviewing the key findings from our 2024 Global ServiceNow Insight and Vision Report. We've got some exceptional speakers leading our discussion today, featuring thought leaders Adam Holtby from Omdia and Vikram Walecha from NTT DATA. Adam Holtby covers workplace transformation and the future of work as part of the Omdia Digital Workplace team. His research focuses on understanding and analyzing how work evolves in response to changing employee demands and business transformation priorities. Vikram Walecha is Vice President of Consulting and Digital Transformation Services at NTT DATA, responsible for the ServiceNow practice. With over 15 years experience in technology consulting, he has expertise in managing large and complex digital transformation projects. Hi, I'm Amanda Halperter, the Marketing Business Partner for the ServiceNow practice at NTT DATA. And just to give you a little bit of background on our annual report, this is the 5th installment of our ServiceNow Insight and Vision Survey. It's a joint research study between NTT DATA and Omdia, where we surveyed platform owners and executives across the most influential industries, job roles, and departments. Before I hand it over to the presenters, I'd like to encourage our audience to submit any questions they might have during the live session directly into the webinar console. Towards the end of the presentation, we'll hold a brief Q&A, so please submit your questions early and often. This webcast will also be recorded, and we encourage you to share the on-demand recording with your colleagues who may have missed the live session, but may find the information helpful. Also, be sure to check out some of the educational materials that we've added to your handouts tab on your webinar console. We are delighted to have you all and today with us, and now I'll turn the presentation over to our first presenter, Adam Holtby. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Amanda, thanks for that. I hope all is well, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are in the world, to all those joining us today. My name is Adam Holtby, so I'm a principal analyst at Omdia. Omdia are a global research and analysis firm. And as Amanda mentioned there, I lead our research, into all things workplace transformation and future of work. This was a great project to be a part of. We'll kind of delve into some of the key findings and results shortly. I'm really looking forward to sharing some of those with the audience. But before I do, I just wanted to kind of hand over to Vikram briefly. Great to be joined by you on the call today, Vikram. Brief intro would be appreciated. I'm looking forward to delving into some of these insights.
Absolutely, Adam, and I am equally looking forward to it. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Vikram Walecha, I'm based out of Columbus, Ohio. I lead the ServiceNow business for NTT DATA. As Amanda apprised, more than 15 years experience in driving technology consulting as well as digital innovation, core competency in the areas of low code, no code, enterprise platform, apps modernization, cloud transformations. As Adam said, we are extremely excited to be here. We would be sharing our insights that we gathered through our annual Insights and Vision Survey. So without further ado, let's get to it. Adam, why don't we start off by briefly apprising our audience about the 2024 ServiceNow Insights and Vision Survey and study. What was it? How did we conduct it? Who was our audience? Take it away, Adam.
Perfect. Good stuff. Excellent. So Amanda kind of gave a good introduction to this study at the top of the session there. Service management overall is a really exciting practice and set of technologies, right? There's so much going on in service management at the minute, and it's very much at the forefront of optimizing those back office operations that are so important to the way that organizations operate. I've been covering the space for 13 years now as an analyst, and given the advent of a lot of new technologies and a lot of new business needs, some of which we'll explore in the presentation today, service management is a really exciting topic. So this was a really cool study to be a part of. It's one that NTT have conducted for a few years now, so there's some great historical insights to tap into there. We at Omdia, we were kind of brought in by NTT to help them really kind of construct the survey to make sure that we were focused and covering some of the key and emerging trends and themes in service management. So to really kind of bring our insights and our perspectives into that study, and to really bring that independent voice and perspective. It's worth noting that of the over 1,000 respondents that we were able to generate as part of the survey project that very much supports the output of the actual study and of the actual ebook that you'll be able to access, all respondents were adopters of ServiceNow. So they all had some experience in adopting and utilizing the technology, which is really important when you think about what future aspirations are going to be, how they can potentially build on those foundational competencies that a lot of organizations have built. Fundamentally, what the survey and study does is it looks at the trends, the current state, and the aspirations of organizations, and the partner dynamics, which is another really important element when it comes to service management practices and ServiceNow adoption overall. So a really kind of great study to be part of. We've got some stats on screen now, if we'll just kind of move on to the next slide to give you a better sense as to the type of organizations that we spoke to, both in terms of the respondent types, but also the different mix of organizations based on size and revenue. And then moving on, it's also provides a global perspective, right? So we looked and profiled organizations across multiple different geographies, which was really, really important, because as you dig into the data, you do see some variances in terms of what's important for one organization versus what's important for another in a different geography. So some super interesting data, a lot of which we're going to kind of dig into as part of the session today. We really want to kind of bring some of these insights to life and show you some of the compelling results that we were able to garner as part of this study. Really exciting, great project to be part of, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to discussing it in a little bit more detail.
Thanks, Adam. Looks like we were able to glean insights from diverse audience, which was great, and gathering their perspectives gave us relevant insights for us, and then now it's giving the same or relaying the same information to the audience. We are hoping it'll be valuable for them as well. You mentioned in the report, Adam, that digital transformation progress for most of the enterprises stagnating. Talk to us about it. What do you mean by that, and what does the data tell us?
Yeah, so this was definitely one of the big insights, one of the big revelations from that survey work, right, that acts as the foundation for this report. And I guess to summarize this whole point, this whole data point around digital transformation, it's tough, right? Digital transformation is hard. A lot of organizations are very much at this crossroads of innovation, right? Where there's this really exciting path to potential digital fuel progress going forward. But for a lot of organizations, and our data shows that it's 73% of businesses in total, they're really finding themselves at somewhat of a standstill, right? They're lost in this sea of digital complexity, so to speak. So they're maybe not leveraging or getting the results from digital investments and those digital practices that they aspire to achieve. It's a big number, right? 73% of organizations that report that less than half of the digital initiatives that they've embarked on have been successful over the past 2 years. It's a huge number. And I think the reality is that it's really only a handful of those initiatives that have delivered that desired business impact that organizations are craving. And that tells us something really important, right? It tells us, A, as we've already discussed, that digital transformation is tough, and that journey to digital transformation and achieving success through investment in any new digital capabilities or digital initiatives really requires that meticulous planning and execution from organizations. So the route forward is very much to be cognizant, be aware of what those broader business aspirations are, and then make sure that you as a digital leader and that your function as a digitally enabling function is really aligned to those business objectives, and that investments, strategic planning that you put in place around digital is geared towards those objectives, because that's where true progress is made.
Wonderful, Adam, and that's what we are witnessing as well. You spoke about digital complexities. That's pervasive, and that's really been impediments for most of the organizations as they're navigating towards the digital transformation.
It's a tough one, right, Vikram? It's a tough one. There are a lot of complexities involved. There are, even beyond just the technology view, right, and perspective, there's a lot of intricacies when it comes to organizational hierarchies and culture. We've seen that emerge over the past few years. From your perspective, I guess, what are some of the digital challenges that you're commonly seeing some of your customers face? I think we've seen what the data shows us, but in terms of the customers that you interact with, what are you noticing out there in terms of the challenges that they're experiencing?
And I think, yeah, I'm sure data is actually true reflection of what we are hearing as well. You spoke about digital complexity, digital sprawl that's happening with the digitization. There are disparate and siloed systems companies are currently using across departments. The challenge that we are witnessing is they don't communicate with each other. That ultimately impacts the employee productivity as well as the experience. Also, at the same time, they have rigid systems. Enterprises have invested into these systems forever, and that constrains the agility that the business demands. They are not set up for innovation. They are not built for innovation. Secondly, operational challenges with the customer as well as the company's data sitting across multiple systems and departments. It's a huge challenge to orchestrate the processes as well. That's necessary to complete the work. So that's another challenge we are getting more and more. We are hearing from our clients. It's the siloed nature of the data that's leading to operational inefficiencies. And then there is business risk with the data that's passing back and forth between the systems. How do you maintain the right level of security and governance? How do you make sure that you're in compliance with the rules and regulations of your industry, of your region? And then how do you invest into new requirements such as ESG? And then Adam, successful digital transformation, it requires that businesses, they focus and invest in improvement across multiple areas. And some of the insights that we were able to gather from our survey, key imperatives for our clients: improving the IT governance so that there is incessant focus on reduction of technical debt that the clients have incurred over years. Also, to gain the agility as well as economies of scale, we are seeing more and more adoption of cloud. There is adoption of hybrid multi-cloud strategies, and that's going to continue to happen. Thirdly, the tech ecosystem simplification with rationalization of complex systems of records, moving away from legacy to much more modern, modular, low-code, no-code applications, vendor consolidations, some of the strategies we are seeing clients adopting. And then you have ESG enablement and improving the operations with the data and insights being at the forefront of everything businesses do. So these are some of the challenges we are witnessing, and then the clients adopting various strategies in order to circumvent them. Quickly moving to the next slide as well. Let's do a quick poll. Based on your organization, I'm sure that there's investment going into various digital transformation initiatives. Audience, what do you think are the most important top priority strategic initiatives that your organization is driving? What are the key drivers? Is it enhancing security? Are you looking to improve the customer as well as employee experience, automation and AI adoption, or you're trying to centralize your internal functions such as IT, HR, procurement, etc.?
Yeah, I'm interested in the responses to this poll purely because this is a question that we posited as part of the survey that supports this work too. And I remember when we got and we'll delve into the results shortly. But I remember when we got the results back, and you may remember this, Vikram. We had the call, and we were all somewhat surprised by the results there. Namely because I guess it's not a it's not an objective that you commonly associate with service management, right? But if you
Yeah.
think about how service management as a practice and as a supporting set of technologies has really evolved over recent years, it is much more of an enterprise play, right? In that it isn't just a set of tools and best practices that are aligned to optimizing IT support or that traditional IT-centric viewpoint. It is becoming a platform and set of practices that is much more enabling in delivering value to the entire organization. I may have given away what the top result was from our survey respondents there, but we'll see what the folks watching identify as being that key strategic initiative anyway.
Yeah, I'm absolutely spot on. One thing that we learned was that some of the options that are listed there, they're topmost priority for most of the enterprises. There was a neck-to-neck competition among all those 4 options, right? So let's see if it's reflected in current poll as well.
Drum roll. Integration, interesting, especially given what you mentioned there, Vikram, around what you were seeing from your customers in terms of that complexity often holding businesses back.
Yeah, absolutely. It's enhancing security. We thought that it's going to be up there as well, because what we are witnessing, and then our survey results as well, security, and then businesses with the digital proliferation as well as AI being used pervasively, with the security attack surface increasing multifolds. I think we thought that businesses will continue to look to embrace advanced as well as integrated portfolio of enterprise cybersecurity solutions, and then having zero trust principles in place to thrive in the face of uncertainty and cyber threats. Quickly moving to the slides, let's see what our results and our survey gave us. Flipping once, yeah, right here. Yeah, so if you see, right, security was right up there. In fact, in 2023, when we had conducted this survey, 50% of the US respondents advised enhancing security has become more important. And now with 2024, the number increased to 74%. It's again, as I said, it's mostly happening because of the digitization and insistent focus on infusing AI, and which is more data-driven and data-dependent. That's increasing the attack surface. So there would be investments made into augmenting security. Also, what we witnessed, the CX improvements, right? Amid rapidly shifting consumer behavior, we are looking at fluctuation in the economic conditions as well as the geopolitical issues. They are evolving as well. Delivering personalized experiences at scale has been a key differentiator for most of the enterprises. And those who succeed are better able to weather the uncertainties and have positioned themselves for long-term growth and success. Also, what we noticed, in addition to CX improvement, security, leveraging AI and automation capabilities explicitly, specifically to boost productivity, cost takeouts are some of the additional areas which are deemed to be strategically more important for businesses. Conversely, since we were comparing and contrasting the data from 2023 to 2024, the 4 areas that were deemed less important over the past 12 months, one, outsourcing of their internal service functions. So clients themselves, they're investing into capabilities and then harnessing the right skills to be able to build certain functions in-house. Secondly, advancing the DEI as well as reduction in carbon footprint. They're still important and pivotal for businesses, but again, they've taken, there are investments happening into other areas. And then integration of internal service functions. That's again, you'll continue to see a lot of focus in that area as well. So Adam, let me ask you this. So we've already covered why the digital transformation is stalling. What are the different challenges the clients are facing? What are the different priorities? Now let's talk about service management priorities as well. Based on our survey results, what do you think the majority of the budget would be spent on, and what would be the key service management priorities as the clients are advancing their 24 and 25 agenda?
Yeah, so a call out first of all on that slide that shows us the importance of enhancing security and CX improvement when it comes to those governing strategic objectives that organizations are really focused on. I think that's a really interesting an interesting viewpoint through if I'm putting my service management hat on, right? Because improving customer experience and enhancing security, maybe not two areas that you would associate strongly with service management capabilities and practices traditionally. Obviously, that's changing. We talked earlier on around the importance of how these solutions are evolving in becoming much more broader in the value they deliver, right? They're enterprise solutions now as opposed to just IT solutions. And with that in mind, they're going to have, and practices too, not just technologies, of course, but they're going to have a really important role to play in ensuring that organizations can successfully deliver against those strategic initiatives of enhancing security, of improving customer experience. But if we move on a second, and if we look at data that's maybe a little bit more specifically tied to digital budgets, and if we look at what organizations are planning to do over the next 12 months when it comes to actually kind of investing in these type of capabilities, I guess overall organizations have this cautious yet optimistic outlook on digital budgeting over the next year. It's a significant 36%, according to the data that we were able to generate, of respondents that anticipate an increase of up to 10% in their digital budget. So that really kind of tells me that there's a steady but quite moderate investment opportunity when it comes to digital initiatives that organizations have identified. It's 24% that kind of expect no change in terms of digital budgets. So that really kind of suggests either a level of satisfaction with their current allocations, or this kind of wait and see approach to really kind of know and understand where it is that organizations need to hedge their bets, especially if we think about the kind of uncertain economic climate that's really kind of the backdrop to all of this. Quite interestingly though, it's 20% that see a more substantial digital budget increase between that 10 to 25% mark. So that points towards a real kind of aggressive intent, investment intent anyway, and investment strategy for a lot of organizations when it comes to digital planning. On the other end of that spectrum, we see a much smaller proportion of respondents that actually anticipate budget reductions, which may be quite a surprise. Again, if I go back to the economic climate that we're currently living in, I think what this tells us overall is that there's this real balanced approach from organizations, and that digital capabilities, there's a recognition that they're going to yield great innovation opportunities for organizations. So investing in digital is really kind of seen as a way for businesses to maybe navigate into new markets, or to just do things more efficiently and more effectively than what they've done previously. But moving on, if we look at kind of where that digital spend is being directed when it comes to service management priorities specifically, so what you spoke to, Vikram, gave us that bigger picture, which is really important. If we go back to what I was mentioning at the top of this presentation, the need to consider and have great awareness of what those broader business strategic objectives are, because they are going to help direct our service management strategy. This kind of data point really goes into some detail around where it is that money is going to be directed when it comes to service management priorities specifically. And it's 75% of organizations that are prioritizing an improvement in service operational efficiencies. And this is not just about kind of doing more, but doing things better and doing things smarter. And that challenge around integration, that challenge around tech simplification absolutely aligns here in terms of what new efficiencies can we realize, not just in terms of cost and the business bottom line, but how can we work better? How can we work smarter through maybe rationalizing a technology estate and simplifying our digital ecosystems? The enhancement of customer experiences is another priority, and this aligns nicely to the data point that we looked at earlier on. And it's encouraging to see this emerging as a really important service management priority, because we all know about the value that service management practices and technologies offer from a back office perspective, right, in terms of ensuring that employees can access work resources and data in a way that supports their ways of working. But there's actually recognition now, growing recognition around the importance of making sure that that end-to-end approach to supporting employee experience and customer experience is effective and efficient. Because if we have a great, streamlined and efficient service management operation that supports those back office duties and tasks, then that in turn is going to better support the front office, which ultimately is going to help organizations better support those customer outcomes. So it's great to see kind of customer experiences in there. And I kind of touched on this briefly a second ago, but that importance of employee experience is a huge area of focus, right? And it has been for organizations over the past few years, and we see that very much through the service management lens, making sure that employees have the tools and the working practices that they need to work in the most effective and productive way that they possibly can. And that isn't, again, that isn't just a technology question. That's as much about employee well-being and ensuring that employees are part of this environment that is conducive to great working, as it is in making sure that employees have the technologies that they need to be successful. So in my view, this data all points towards, and I may be somewhat biased here, given that service management is a practice very close to my heart, but I really truly do believe that service management is this digital guiding light, so to speak, that is really helping organizations and has the potential to help organizations strike that optimal balance between working more efficiently, between improving customer satisfaction and employee experiences, and ultimately better supporting things like to the point you raised earlier on, Vikram, around sustainability and how ESG is this mandate of increased importance. Service management has got this vital role in ensuring that organizations can deliver on that in a successful way. I really like the results of the last poll, so I'm going to run with another one, if that's okay with the audience, because it's great to correlate the insights that you're giving us with maybe what we've been able to garner and gather from the study that we ran. But what is it that you're seeing as the most important ServiceNow or service management goals for your organization over the course of the next 18 months? We've spoken a lot around the importance that organizations are attaching to technology consolidation and simplification of that digital estate. Is that maybe what's kind of championing and guiding your service management strategy? How about potentially leveraging ServiceNow or your service management solution beyond just the IT department and into those departments like HR and procurement and customer service? So I mentioned earlier on that the power of these platforms in becoming an enterprise play, in delivering true enterprise value. Key to that is in ensuring that adoption and utilization of these capabilities extends just beyond the IT team. Is that something that you're kind of actively thinking about or looking to deliver against? Or is it a skills gap issue? This is another kind of area that we've not touched on in any great detail yet, but it became apparent from the results to the study that we ran that there's a real shortage of skills for organizations around service management. Is that something that you're seeing in your business and that you're looking to address? Or is it kind of that spend element, that cost element? Are you looking to reduce the overall spend and expenditure that you have associated with ServiceNow adoption or with service management practices? I always think kind of the spend, the cost one is maybe not the the easiest answer to strike, but genuinely interested in kind of what it is that the audience are pivoting towards in terms of those important ServiceNow and service management objectives. All right, let's see. I think that's enough of me introducing the survey. Where are we at with the results? Technology consolidation and simplification. That very much aligns, Vikram, right, with what we have seen, I think, from the study that we ran. And this isn't this is something that I'm seeing across the board when it comes to enterprise IT overall, right? Not just service management based conversations, but whether I'm talking around workplace mobility, it's security conversations, collaboration conversations. It's this simplification and this need to consolidate what is a really complex tech stack that is key for a lot of organizations at present. What do you think, Vikram, that ServiceNow's role and service management's role is going to be in not just the technology consolidation and simplification piece, but I guess the overall digital transformation piece that we've discussed and touched on today? And how is it that your clients are maybe leveraging these type of technologies to deliver against some of these objectives?
Yeah, for sure, Adam. And then moving to the slide real quick, and then it's aligned to the service management priorities as well that you talked about, right? There were three key pillars that we looked at. One, infusion of operational efficiencies and effectiveness. Secondly, you talked about augmentation and elevation of the experience, both for the customers as well as for the employees. And then thirdly, how do we lower the total cost of ownership, right? And then this is extremely telling as well, right? As part of this poll as well, technology consolidation and simplification is something that most of our customers and clients are looking for. Quickly moving to the next slide that talks about our findings as well. What are the key? How are our clients adopting ServiceNow, right? And then so technology consolidation simplification is perhaps one of the most important and biggest strengths of ServiceNow, and it's relatively untapped is what we see, but it's getting there. Modern IT leaders, as you know, they cannot afford to rely solely on traditional and high code application development approaches. They are looking for higher abstraction levels for app dev, as well as embracing, they want to embrace low code platforms such as ServiceNow to accelerate the application development. And specifically, it's relevant today when the only constant today is change, right? So business need to be able to pivot and adopt quickly in case there is any kind of disruption, while they continue to push the boundaries of innovation. And then ServiceNow, from simplification standpoint as well, as it offers single system of engagement by integrating several systems of records to orchestrate the processes and make the work easier for the employees. Secondly, and this came out as part of the initial poll that we conducted, integration of several functional processes under one operating model, right? You're looking at bringing in better service experience across HR, finance, workplace services, procurement, legal, and this actually includes commonality as well as consistency across different business services, the teams they engage with. So in that area as well, we're more and more seeing adoption of enterprise service management practices and leveraging ServiceNow as that fulcrum for transformation. Thirdly, the unification of data and processes as it's happening through ServiceNow. We are seeing clients requesting for using ServiceNow as that reporting and analytics engine as well, to be able to drive the insights, to drive decisions, to drive processes, etc. And again, bridging the skills gap, it's going to continue to happen because ServiceNow as a platform is evolving, right? And then there is a demand supply gap. Therefore, more and more clients are approaching to us. One of their most important goal is how do we make sure that newer priorities that are coming up, we are able to stay at par with it, have the right, invest in the right skills, or rely on our partner ecosystem to be able to get the right skills. Quick stats: 73%, in fact 74% of the businesses in energy and utility sector, they've been able to consolidate 3 or more tools since they've adopted ServiceNow. So that's extremely telling. It's something that we are seeing clients adopting ServiceNow as that application modernization engine, wherein they're able to replace legacy with ServiceNow. something that we did not account for, or something that we thought that would never happen, but we are seeing adoption of ServiceNow as that true digital transformation platform. Adam, let me ask you this. I think we've shared a lot about how ServiceNow is getting used, and then why is it being adopted across the enterprise. What are the other adoption patterns you are witnessing? And then do you believe that the clients, they have the right blueprint or the architecture, or have they made the right investments to get there?
Yeah, I think pointing to the data on screen there, Vikram, that you've just briefed on, I mean, that's compelling, right? That's pretty powerful against the backdrop of those the challenges that we explored as part of the study. We obviously ran the poll. We saw that technology consolidation was a key strategic initiative for folks that are viewing today. To have insight into what organizations are able to achieve through their adoption of a platform like ServiceNow, and that nearly half are being able to consolidate three or four solutions as part of that simplification effort, that's massive. And I think moving on, we've spoke a lot about the digital aspirations that organizations have, right? But it's also important to consider how success is going to be measured and understood. And that's really kind of the objective of this question and the data that you can see on screen now. We've spent time on today's webinar looking at what it is that organizations want to achieve. How are they going to, or how are they thinking about actually measuring and understanding success there? And in measuring the success of IT management technology investments, of which service management is obviously a really important category, most organizations view those IT team efficiency gains and that improved security posture as being metrics of significant importance. And I think this is telling and interesting, especially on the security piece and on the customer engagement and satisfaction piece, because what did we see earlier on around those business aspirations that organizations had when they were thinking strategically about digital? It was improving security, enhancing customer experience that were vital objectives for organizations. And now we can see that when they're thinking about measuring the success of investment in IT management capabilities, it's those two areas that are in the top three in terms of understanding the progress that businesses have been made. So the point here is that we can't discount, although we may not traditionally think security and customer experience and customer engagement when it comes to IT service management, things are changing, and we need to think about how these practices support those bigger business objectives. And moving on quickly, as service management becomes this more vital business, not just IT competency, right? Having that clear and defined strategy becomes so important. And that's because alignment between those service management goals and aspirations and those broader business objectives, as we've discussed and explored, it's so fundamental to delivering against those success metrics that we explored on the previous slide. So that solid strategic approach really means that service management investments are being made not just to deliver business as usual, but in really being made to support those broader business innovation objectives. And there's another data point on screen here that you can see around the number of organizations that actually are thinking about service management and ServiceNow adoption in through a more strategic lens, shall we say. And strategy, for me, when it comes to service management, really it comes down to how aligned the business and the IT department are in delivering against those aspirations and what it is that IT is doing in support of those broader business objectives and business aspirations.
Yeah, and Adam,
super interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And today it's even more relevant, right? With the pace of disruption that's happening, right? The strategic priorities from the clients, their imperatives and drivers, they keep on changing, right? So how do we make sure that you're at pace with the disruption, being able to formulate and devise a ServiceNow roadmap that aligns to your vision, but at the same time is adaptable as well, so that you are able to quickly pivot in case something goes south or there's a new technology, something comes up.
How important has that ability to pivot and work in an agile fashion been over the past few years, Vikram, right? It's essential. it's a good shout.
Yeah, let's pivot a little bit, right? We've talked about ServiceNow roadmap as well, and then some of the key priorities. GenAI, as you know, it's a buzzword, and then it's industry hot topic. We explored that as well as part of our survey. Adam, why don't you briefly talk about some of our key findings as it pertains to generative AI?
All right. First of all, a round of applause, because we're 35, 40 minutes into the presentation, and this is the first time that we've mentioned generative AI, right? I don't know how many events you've been to over the past few months, Vikram, but usually GenAI is maybe like within the first 5 minutes. We've gone nearly 35, 40, which I think is testament to the broader value of service management overall. But that's a topic for another time. But it's huge, right? There's no escaping it. It's this massive catalyst for change and disruption in organization when it comes to problem solving, creativity based work. AI is having a massive impact. I think one of the most interesting elements of this technology is in how it's kind of entering the enterprise consciousness, in that through capabilities like ChatGPT, a lot of employees have been able to get first-hand experience in how this works, the potential value of the technology, and that is ultimately making them think, how could I potentially use this in a work scenario or in a work setting? It's kind of a bit like the iPhone, right? Way back in 2007, 2008. Cool new technology. Oh, the potential here for me to make work a little bit better is evident. So there's this consumerization impact to AI and generative AI that's I think is really interesting. And inevitably, it was something that we had to test as part of this study, because whilst it is this topic of broader interest from an enterprise IT perspective, there's some really exciting things happening from a service management point of view, especially in terms of how this technology is being used to deliver better customer experiences. So the question that we posited towards respondents was just simply one of where they were at in their journey of utilizing and implementing generative AI in the context of their organization. And it's only 12% of respondents that advised that they had no plans in place currently to actually use the technology. And that there was interest there, but they had no kind of strategic plans. It's 42% of businesses that advised that they had used it for specific use cases, and it was 31% that were more in an exploratory phase. So on the whole, I think there's a definite need anyway for better education around the benefits specific to service management and the roles that people undertake within IT in particular, so that guidance and support around when and how this capability can provide real value is going to be really important from a service management context, because those are the two big barriers that I see, the two big question marks around generative AI when it comes to using it in a business context. It's great, I've had hands-on use with it, but I really need to better understand how it's going to impact me in the context of work, right? How can it help make my work better, more efficient? And then the second one is around value, right? Value understanding and value recognition. You could be sold on the technology, but then you kind of need to find the budget to invest in it. So you need to understand the value in monetary terms, if possible, so that you can have those C-level conversations around where investment should be pitched. So understanding the use cases and then understanding that monetary value is super important for businesses. But again, and final poll, because again, I'm really interested in understanding the audience sentiment around this, but what are the key drivers of adoption of generative AI within your organization? Are you looking kind of or focused on those productivity efficiencies that you can gain and the way that you can optimize productivity? What about customer satisfaction and loyalty? There's a lot happening in the realms of Gen AI around customer experience and customer engagement platforms, chatbots, for example, that make that communication between an organization and its customers much more efficient. Or are you focused maybe more so on the faster products and the improved service delivery that you can achieve through utilizing the technology? Or is it kind of a question around cost, right? The cost reductions or the the cost benefits that you can experience through adopting this capability. What I see is businesses are all in kind of different places in terms of the actual tangible results that they're looking for, but the constants very much are: we need to better understand the value of this capability, and we also need to understand those specific use cases and potentially what that could expose us to through a risk and security perspective, right? Vikram, I'm sure you probably see similar things from the customers that you work with, right? When it comes to the experimentation around these type of technologies, what is it that you're seeing from organizations when it comes to, I guess, GenAI adoption, but also perhaps adoption patterns around other technologies that they're experimenting with?
Yeah, and Adam, you rightly stated the value and the ROI is yet to be proven. That's where we are seeing clients, they're pretty cautious as well as they're embracing GenAI. Undoubtedly, it has emerged as a transformative force. It's reshaping industries and then unlocking new possibilities. There you go, right? So clients today, they're looking at productivity savings as the major driver to be able to infuse GenAI into the processes so that the processes can be faster. Also, right, with the digitization, clients, they need to get core competency and they want to get competitive advantage. So how can they roll out new products and services to the market faster? And that requires adoption of technologies that can empower the developers, that can empower the business users as well to be able to create those products and then get them to market faster. And then obviously GenAI, we are seeing adoption into marketing and sales and then all of the complementary functions to be able to get them the necessary technology to be able to get to the newer services and products development faster. So again, it's aligned to what we saw as well. Quickly jumping on to our results and what we witnessed. And then since Adam, you asked, what are the different areas? What are the early use cases that we are witnessing? You talked about conversations. We believe that it will continue to act as a co-pilot in customer interactions. AI-driven virtual assistants, they are able to engage in contextually rich conversations to ensure swift resolutions. ServiceNow has also adopted the same philosophy with ServiceNow LLMs and then infusion of that into various omni-channel engagements such as virtual agent, and then with potential extensions into other enterprise technologies. I think that's game changer. So conversations and enrichment of conversations will continue to happen with GenAI. Also content discovery, right? How do we enhance the search engine capabilities and then provide more accurate context-aware results? And then not just confined within the realms of one single platform, right? How do we get the users or the employees with an enterprise-wide search, again, infused with GenAI? Content creation, early on, we saw a lot of editors, writers, content creators, they were embracing GenAI to create personalized marketing content, image captioning, summarization within service desk, and then within the operations realms as well. Content creation such as knowledge article, automatic creation of that, or creation of contractual documents, etc. So those are additional use cases that we are witnessing. And then software dev and maintenance, we already talked about it. That's happening. And then your process automation, right? So how do we make sure that within the workflows, within the process flow itself, we are able to infuse GenAI so that it understands the journey the employee or the user has taken and is able to pivot based on the current context as well as previous historical data. So we'll see continued adoption in that area as well. Given we have 10 minutes, Adam, I also wanted to briefly touch upon what support our clients are looking for. Right, given there are a lot of digital changes and disruptions happening, what do they need from the ServiceNow partners? Can you briefly touch upon that, because we covered that as part of our research and study as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And there is only one more slide to go. So we absolutely invite questions from the audience. Please submit those into the question box that you'll see on screen, and we can address those shortly. But good point, Vikram, because when I talk service management, I talk people, process, technology. We all know those elements, right? We've been talking about those for years. But partners is another super important element to consider there, because developing those partnerships that have your organization's objectives as the mutual interest is so vital in walking this journey to digitization, or in walking this path to the future of work. The responses that you can see on screen here were just to a question that we posited in that study around what it is that organizations identify as being their most important future of work priorities that they're looking for supporting over the course of the next 18 months or so. But if I was to kind of, in the interest of time, wrap things up in terms of what it is that organizations are looking for from partners, expertise, right? I'm seeing a lot of interest around cybersecurity expertise in particular, and I think that critical need for robust security measures, as we've discussed, is really apparent in organizations, and service management is absolutely part of that. So being able to leverage the expertise and the skills that they maybe don't have in-house, the technologies, the capabilities of the technologies that organizations are using is also important, at least in terms of being able to not just adopt them, but utilize them in an effective manner, and make sure that they have the partners in place that can help ensure that utilization and adoption is maximized, and that as much value is sought and gathered from use of those technologies as possible. So that strength of professional services becomes really important for organizations, again, because they're looking to forge partnerships that can really help them navigate a lot of the complexities, right? Some of which we've discussed and spoken about in the session today. There's so much going on when you talk about digital, that being able to leverage and work with partners that have experience in kind of walking that path becomes super important. And that's actually impacting the way that services and service management technologies are evolving to a certain extent too. Most notably, I think, through the industry and verticalized product offerings that we're seeing a lot more of now. So organizations being able to leverage technologies and services that are geared towards the specific needs of their organization and the industry that they play in are becoming really important. That was another element that we saw as part of our study that was really an aspect of massive importance for organizations when they were exploring the type of partners that they were going to work with. It was right, what can they bring to the table when it comes to that industry level expertise too, in addition to the technologies and the expertise around things like cybersecurity too. I'm sure you kind of see a similar thing from the clients that you work with, right, Vikram, in terms of what it is that they're looking for from partners to deliver and supporting them on that digital transformation journey, right?
Completely echo your thoughts, Adam. This is what we are noticing as well. To support our clients with the next phase of client transformations, and then they adopting the horizontal stack within ServiceNow, but also at the same time verticalization, because we are seeing that's happening. The vertical workflows that ServiceNow is launching. Clients are looking to partner with organizations who can bring in the domain expertise, the industry eminence, as well as have the right exponential skills as well. Because AI, it's front, right, and center, right? Everyone wants to be on that bandwagon. So bringing in data scientists and people who understands this AI space, and then when we are driving through any of the transformation, it's not just a tech play. There is process re-engineering that you do. There's concepts around the concepts around change management as well, because you need to. It's at the end of the day, it's the lives of the people who are getting impacted. So how do we bring in the right change management practitioners as well to help guide and assist the enterprises driving through that transformation? And then also what we are noticing, the clients, they want to work with partners who are nimble in their approach, who are outcome focused. They rely upon leading best practices that the partner may have learned from other implementations in the past, and then help the clients building the right architecture that integrates seamlessly with the current business application landscape that the client would have invested in. Right, and that will truly impact their digital transformation journey. And then we believe that will help them position strongly for the next phase of growth and revolution. So it's the way you approach the transformations and then bringing in the right skills, not just from technology standpoint, but also processes and industry and domain. And then thirdly, I think it's how do we help clients build that adaptive roadmaps as well, which we briefly touched upon, so that in case of any disruption, they are able to quickly pivot. These are the kind of investments we are making within NTT Data as well, to be able to guide and help our clients through their digital transformation journeys.
Yeah, good insight. We've had an interesting question through that I want to try and address before we hop offline at the top of the hour. It relates to, we've mentioned a few times on the call, this trend of organizations being able to consolidate and simplify across the IT estate through their investment in service management practices and tools like ServiceNow. I guess from the customer interactions that you're having, Vikram, looking at this through a tactical lens, what type of solutions are you seeing customers consolidate in kind of adopting the ServiceNow platform? What are some of those maybe day-to-day solutions or those tools that they have relied on traditionally that they're able to consolidate through investing in the solution?
Yeah, Adam, first and foremost, as I stated earlier, ServiceNow offer platform as a service is a low-code, no-code platform, and the clients over the past couple of years, they've already invested into plethora of rigid platforms, which are custom, homegrown. Those are initial opportunities to rip and replace with ServiceNow, and they give, with ServiceNow, you get that agility, you're able to quickly onboard those newer applications. At the same time, the TCO is lower as well because maintainability is easier because you're building it on a stack that's easier to maintain as opposed to a custom homegrown system. So if you're looking at low-hanging fruits, applications that are currently built on SharePoint, Lotus Notes, currently the process is mundane, highly fragmented, leveraging emails, Excel files, those could be potential candidates to be replaced with ServiceNow. There is another flavor around enterprise modernization, wherein ServiceNow can be leveraged as a platform to reduce the rigidity in the bigger enterprise applications such as SAP or Oracle or any other system you may have built over the years, right? There are customizations and rigidity you may have introduced because these systems initially might not have the right features and functionalities to be able to drive the business capability you're looking for. So that's why clients, they just customized the heck out of these systems. There is a huge opportunity there as well to be able to get visibility into those rigid functional processes that are automated into those systems, and then replace them with ServiceNow low-code, no-code that can sit on top of these enterprise systems and then orchestrate the processes, again, driving that elevated experience for the employees. And then ServiceNow, as you know, they've already invested into a lot of horizontal capabilities, but at the same time, they're coming up with verticalized solutions in procurement and supply chain. There are certain capabilities they're investing in order to cash, procure to pay, etc. Those are other opportunities. So look at your application landscape, see if there are redundant capabilities. Potentially, you can replace them with ServiceNow. So these are some of the common areas, Adam, we are witnessing clients embracing.
Good stuff, great insights. We could talk about this all day, Vikram. There's some really interesting stuff in this survey. You'll see a QR code on screen from where you could download the report, which will go into much more insights. I want to thank everybody for kind of tuning in today and lending us your time. Hope it was valuable. And again, thanks a lot for everyone's attention.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining and have a great day.